Okay. So, yeah, Gmail is mail. I've done Gmail classes before on how to set them up. You can go back through the criteria on how to do that because we could spend the whole time setting up Gmail. Just use it. It's great. We did come up, during the break, somebody talked about, too, Google Chrome. If you download the Google Chrome browser, once you install it, it says, do you want to make Google Chrome your default browser? Say no. Say no and don't ask me again because you want Safari to be your default browser. Default browser means when somebody sends you an email with a link to a website on it, that's the browser that fires up, and you really want that to be Safari. Google Drive, Google Calendar we talked about. Google Drive is really interesting. Who here uses Dropbox? Okay. Basically, it's a way to store stuff, and you get Google Drive, and you notice I have some things here. It used to be called Google Docs, which is a Microsoft Word compatible word processing. It's an Excel compatible spreadsheet, but also it's storage on your computer. So if you look here, this is, in fact, one client keeps his 30,000 songs. He bought extra space. He has 200 and something gigabytes of Google Drive, and he keeps his iTunes library on there because it's too big to use iTunes Match, and it's synced across his two computers. So it's always available, and his iPhoto library. I don't necessarily recommend it. He's got a special case situation because he has 125 gigabytes of music. So if I go down here, I have a movie I've stored on here. Oh, this is a document that if I just click on this document, it's stored on Google Drive. I can edit it. I can save it back to Google Drive. Google Drive is what used to be called Google Docs because it's documents and this is a thing for the Rancho Cordova Historical Society that somebody forwarded to me. And I can do full editing here and whatever I want. If somebody were to email you a Word document and you don't have Microsoft Word, you can open it in your Google Drive, Google Docs. This is all free with your Gmail account. But what's really cool is if I go to my Finder, my smiley happy Finder face, I wouldn't. Gives you more room than Dropbox, but it's an alternative, and it works the same. And Peter, I have classes on Dropbox and stuff. But the cool thing with Google Drive here is I have this folder set up. So if I put something in my Google Drive folder, it shows up on all my Macs and all my other devices, just like Dropbox. Dropbox gives you 2 gigabytes for free. Google Drive gives you an aggregate between your mail and Google Drive is a total of 15 gigabytes. But the good part about Google Drive is you can make a word processing document, a presentation, a spreadsheet, and share it with other people, and you can collaborate on it. And that's something, if you're working on agendas or meetings of a minute or something like that, if you do it and you give other people permission, everybody can do the editing and see it back and forth on the same account. That's pretty much all I'm going to say for Google Drive because to get into the nuts and bolts of it can really be a whole class as far as what Google Drive offers. All right. So we got the Jambox speaker, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go, we showed some photos there a little bit, and I'm going to show you, but does anybody first of all know what the best camera in the world is? The one you have with you. Because if this is sitting in my car, it does me no good. Maybe the guy that steals it does them good. Now, the iPhone, as you get higher in numbers in the iPhone, you have a better and better and better camera. The iPads have moderate cameras. They're usually down a couple because you got to remember the iPhone, you guys buy them for $199 or on sale at Walmart now for $129, and we're going to talk about iPhone prices here in a minute. But this costs AT&T or Verizon or whoever you buy it from $650. But you pay $199 because you have to commit to a 2-year contract. And the idea with that is they put a good camera in it. When you buy an iPad mini for $329, you're paying for the whole thing. There's no contract involved at all. So therefore, they can't load it with as good a camera. The iPhone has a flash on it. The iPads don't have a flash on it. But still, if the iPad's the only thing you have with you is your only camera, it's still the best camera in the world. Hands down. If I have this with me, it's a better camera than my iPhone. And believe me, the iPhone's a great camera. But how many here have video cameras? Okay. How many here have digital still cameras? Then why didn't you raise your hand that you have a video camera? Yeah. But it's good. You don't need video cameras anymore. The iPhone takes high definition video and makes sure it's always in landscape mode. When you take it like this and you go to play it on something, you're going to get letterboxing with big black bars on the side. Landscape mode. How many do TVs look like this or do they look like this? Even in the old days, it was a 4x3. This still wouldn't work. In the olden days. All right. So I have my favorite camera replaced my second favorite camera, and it's a Canon. Actually, let me pull it up. Amazon. SX. I'm going to do a 40. The Canon SX40, $319 on Amazon. Walmart has them on clearance right now for, I think it was like $269 or something. You may or may not have it in your store. The SX40 looks exactly like this. This is the newer version of it. Now, I used to have film cameras and I had lenses. And like not having your good camera with me, I never had the right lens with me or the never right lens on the camera. And lenses are expensive. In fact, in high-end photography, lenses are the most important part, more than the camera. The glass is the most important part. So, I'm Ken the Frugal Guy. That's what I put on my thing here. I want to take really good pictures, but I don't want to plunk down a bunch of lenses. So I got the Canon SX40 and more recently the XX50. And for those of you who know what wide angle is, it starts at 24 millimeter, which is wide angle. The SX40 goes out to 800 millimeter, and this one goes to 1200 millimeter optically. What does that mean? Ken, that's a bunch of gibberish. Let me show you what that means. Here's at 24, zoomed out all the way, okay? And this is out, if you're familiar with where the Douglas test stand is, out on Douglas Road behind Aerojet, or Douglas Road, out behind Aerojet. So this is the photo. This is it full out at 24. Now, you can barely see a little speck of light here, right? So I'm going to use iPhoto to zoom in so you can see what that is. See this thing right here? Everybody see that little shiny thing? So let's zoom back out. This is at 24. This is what I saw. Now, when I zoom in, that shiny thing is this. This is the shiny part that showed up. That's the shiny part, okay? Zoom out. There's nothing there. What are you talking about? Boom. Now, that's optical zoom, and optical zoom is great, which means it's the lens, okay? One step further is digital zoom, and I don't encourage digital zoom, because all digital zoom, you can do it after the fact. What that means is it says, take this picture and enlarge it inside the camera without using the glass. Okay? But the cameras have really good image stabilization these days, so I decided to go digital, or do digital zoom, and there it is.
Wow.
So we talked about people sunbathing at their pool or skinny dipping with Google before. Well, I could be miles away and see what's going on here. So let's go back. There it is all the way out. Now, the high voltage sign, right? Yeah, we're zoomed in pretty good. And I don't usually do digital zoom, but I wanted to just show it. And again, in this picture, this little shack, I'm going to just bring this in. This is that little shack right there. So boom, boom. On these cameras, this one, the SX50, you kind of have to really force it to go to digital. But on the SX40, I zoom in, so I'll turn it on. You zoom in, and then it stops. I have to activate the zoom again to make it go digital. So you don't inadvertently do digital. Same thing happens on most of your guys' little point and shoots. Most point and shoot cameras have decent digital. Now, they make another version of the Canon called the G12, which is really pretty good, but it doesn't have super zoom. It only zooms to like 12 times. This is considered a 50x, okay, 50 times zoom. So I'm here and I can zoom in 50 times. But this also does high definition video. I don't need a video camera anymore. In fact, the high-end Canons, the ones that you buy all the lenses for, many, many TV shows and movies are now shot with SLRs, still cameras, because you have such an assortment of lenses. Video cameras don't usually have. Video cameras have always been kind of like this, where you have a big zoom. You don't have those real fine lenses. But a lot of them are shooting with Canon Mark 7D, 5D, whatever, Mark 3s, yeah. So, but it does remarkable video and audio. The big trick on these kind of cameras is to be able to do video, they had to make it so the zoom was quieter, because it used to, you would zoom and you'd hear it, you know, real quiet scene, you got wildlife out there, and you hear it on the video. Because when we take still shots, we're not taking audio of it, okay? They all have a hot shoe on them. They also have a built-in flash. Kicks butt. And it uses an SD memory card, which most new Macs have an SD memory card slot in. You just slide it right in and off it goes. 300 at Fry's this week till next Thursday, $349. A third of the price of a good lens. That's the SX50. The reason I like the SX50 more than the 40, and the reason I sold my SX40 to get this one, is because it shoots what's called RAW. RAW images means it captures all of it, and you can bring more information out of it. But kick butt camera. Kick butt camera. Don't forget. When you're doing these two, don't forget you have Panorama available. Let me see if I can get reflector up. Fantastic. Since we're on photo here. There's a Panorama app built into the iPhone. So if I go to my camera, see, it's got really good light sensitivity. Oh, here's a camera tip of the day for the iPhone. So over here, it's pretty bright, right? If you guys can look at the screen. Let me see if I can make this bigger for you. Okay, see how the light is there and then it brightens up here? Well, let's say in many times you actually want the darkness, you don't want it to adjust. So if I come here, and please look at the screen, if I come here and tap on that map back there, I want to go up higher. It's focusing and it's adjusting light on that. Did you see that happen? Now if I move here, though, it's going to readjust. But if I want to lock it to that, I press and hold and watch the screen. Boom, boom, boom. Do you see that? I pressed and held, and now down below it says automatic exposure, automatic focus lock. So when I go back over here, obviously it oversaturates the picture. But sometimes you want that. Let's say somebody has bright sunlight behind them, but you want to, like let's say the thing over there, see my bag over there, I want to focus on it, and it won't go too well. And I spread my fingers out. But then I come back here, see it's locked. See how dark everybody is? So that goes away when you take the next photo. So it only holds for one time. But the Panorama app is in your iPhone, and hit Options, Panorama. Now, you can see there it says, move the phone continuously when taking Panorama. So I have to hit this to start it. Keep the arrow in the middle. Don't hold your arms way out. You want to pivot around the phone because you want to pivot around the lens. Oh, it told me to slow down. Done. Okay, so here's our panorama. Okay. I like another app that's like 99 cents called 360 Pano. 360 Pano. You can look it up. It's either 99 or 199. And the reason I like this is because it will allow me, the Apple one will only let you do 270 degrees. This will let you do 360. I was in Arches National Park and up on a plateau, and I wanted a 360 panorama. The other thing is, in the bright sunlight, it's hard to see my screen. So when I can't see slow down. Well, this app actually clicks when you're ready to go to the next one. So I'll start here. Yep, I'm not tapping it. When it's ready, it does it. But the best thing about these panorama apps is it stitches these all together, because when I look on the screen, you don't really see any big differences, even though we had different lighting situations. 360 Pano lets you upload it free to the Occipital website, and when you look at it on a browser, they have a great 3D viewer in there, and that part of it's free. So I can save it to my camera roll and or save it up to Occipital's site. So 360 Pano, it's called. Okay. The last part about photos I wanted to get everybody into is I am using Flickr now, and I really like it because I can go to iPhoto, and I can take any photo I have. Let's go... There's some cows. All right. So I go here and I say, oops, I got a little spinning beach ball. Huh? Yeah, this is actually out by Grant Line and Douglas Road. So if I go share, I can share it right to Flickr. Flickr, this is the one time I'm going to tell you should have a Yahoo account. Flickr is owned by Yahoo. Flickr is the only reason to have a Yahoo account, except for Yahoo Weather. But Flickr is great because I can take this photo, it uploads it straight to Flickr, full size. Full size photo, and you get 1 terabyte of storage for free. If you have a free account, there may be some ads that'll show up when people go to visit your photos, but that's it. I'm lucky, I'm grandfathered in, I've had a pro account for them, and they've kept us with our old things. But let me show you what a Flickr site looks like in Safari. The camera here, this was it's on sale this week at Fry's for $349 until next Thursday. Yeah, and you know, I have my iPhone with me most of the time, but I'm always worried. I don't like leaving it in my car and stuff, so I only use it if I know I'm going out to shoot, just because, yeah. Anyway, let's go to Flickr's website. So these are just the photos get uploaded. I can make sets. I can have it upload everything from my photo stream, whatever I want, and I can click on these and do slideshows. You can give people a link to your photos, and Flickr is free. So I got to show you, I've got to get to this one photo to show. You can do some videos to Flickr, but it's limited in length. No documents. No, it's strictly photo and video. And for videos, I recommend YouTube. YouTube, you can throw a YouTube up. If you have a Gmail account, you can go up to YouTube. You can go up to 15 minutes. I'm lucky because mine got brought in and I can do full-length videos on it. But here's the, this was out at this little lake, Mather Lake, right by Mather Golf Course. And this heron, it's a pretty big fish. The other thing is, look at how his wing pattern looks like a mallard duck. The pattern on his wings. So I just got done taking this photo, and then I went over and I saw a sandhill crane, and I came back, and all of a sudden the guy's throat is really big, and the fish is in his throat. And then I'm kind of in this way because this guy's backing up this truck, and I'm done because I've already done my sunrise shots, and I'm leaving. And the guy pulls up and he goes, oh, sorry I was in your way. And he's got a little inflatable boat. He's got a real nice guy. And he says, I heard they stocked this lake recently. Do you think there are any fish in here? So I brought the camera out and I showed him. He couldn't get that boat off quick enough. He just, wham, I'm gone. Okay. There's probably the only big fish in there, but that's a big fish for that guy. And he was just hanging out over there and he got it. So, all right, so that's Flickr. Now, I want to go back into our little keynote because we talked about, any questions on photos and that stuff? Go ahead, Curtis.
If people are really into this photo stuff, I don't know about it, they know about the Renaissance Society out of San State. They have a digital photography class. If you want to hang out with probably people like him.
No, because I am not good. I blame it all on my equipment.
These people are totally whack, and they have it's their ring. It's only $80 a year to belong to the Renaissance Society, and you have classes on digital photography.
I've gone over and taught iPad classes there.
They are nice people.
And it's not like the Renaissance Fair. That's originally, I thought it was something, I thought they'd all be dressed in costume. These are people that are later in life want to continue to have good education. And they're at Sac State. They have thousands of people out there. You go out there on a Friday and it's all, forget any students, it's all Renaissance people out there. 1,600. Yeah. And it's our exact demographic. It's really, really good. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah. Yeah, and they have Apple class, iPad classes. Like I said, they've invited me to teach, and I love it. I always promote MacNexus when I'm there, and so it's good. We do Renaissance when we're here.
Teach our class there last semester. Into the Apple class, the thing.
Yeah. Don't be stealing our student. No. It's on Fridays. This is Saturday. Oh, and that should be brought up. Don't forget, MacNexus also has the third Saturday of every month classes down at the Sacramento Food Bank at 3333 3rd Avenue. 3rd Avenue. And Tara and Richard teach more basic kind of classes there too for iPad and Mac and file structure and stuff. So if it's not necessarily for you, we all know that you guys get asked by other Mac users, oh, how do I do this, how do I do that? Send them to that class. You don't have to do all those phone calls then. And I always tell people with MacNexus classes, tell them they can come to 2 of them. If they like it, they can spend that $40 for your whole family. Everybody in your house gets for $40 to be able to come. So have them try it a couple times. They'll like it, and they'll spend $40 because triage alone is worth the $40. All right. The iPhone landscape is changing. How many here don't have an iPhone? Well, you had one. You're borrowing hers. You're getting one. Don't have iPhones.
Don't have a Mac.
I'm sorry?
I have an iPhone.
Okay.
And I cry a lot.
Any reasons why not? And there's some real viable reasons. There's no reason my mom should have one. Another client, she doesn't get out and about very much. She doesn't need it.
I never text. I have no reason to text anybody.
Do you have a cell phone now?
Yeah.
When you're out and about, do you want to know where a certain place is sometimes?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Texting is like the least of it. In fact, I say the iPhone it's a computer. This can do more than this computer can.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But it happens to make phone calls also. And it happens to text.
And it takes pictures.
It takes wonderful pictures. I think if you ask anybody who has an iPhone, is there anybody here that regrets getting an iPhone? Regrets spending the $20 to $30 extra a month it is for data?
I regret getting the end.
Yeah, she regrets getting the Android. We feel your pain. You know what? Androids are fine, but iPhones are easier to use. But an Android is a smartphone, and I would say we're talking smartphones. I happen to talk iPhone more than that, but smartphones in this day and age are just great if you want to make sure you keep up with your mail, keep up with websites, read things. You know, it's nice. I can sit there. I keep podcasts on here of tech podcasts. Clark Howard, I get his free podcast. I download it all the time. So his hour-long show, which is no longer on 6:50 a.m., I download it here. His hour-long show comes down in 38 minutes. I can be walking through Home Depot listening to my podcast. I can be in the car wash where your radio doesn't get any reception and listen to the podcast of it. Waiting for your car to get tires changed. In my, driving, I just listen to it with my one earbud. So this allows you to do all of that kind of thing, and you're constantly connected, which obviously is a problem kind of too. I mean, it's a relief when you get out of cell zone. You go, nobody can reach me. But I just really, really believe in these. iPads are also great, and I encourage a lot of people to maybe just have an iPad and have a regular phone. That works also. So we're talking iOS devices. Is there anybody here that doesn't have an iOS device? Except for you, and you don't have one? Resistance? Waiting for the right one to come along? Interested? My mom never embraced the computer, but she's embraced the iPad. She can video chat with her great-grandkids and stuff like that. And what really pushed her into it was she reads the SACB cover to cover every morning, and it says, for more information, go to sacb.com. And I want to go to, and I knew because I couldn't force her into this because you can't push a rope. And finally, she says, okay, I want to get an iPad so I can find out this information. And she loves it. It's been great. So reading books on it, things like that.
The thing I like about it is it can be a mini file cabinet. So I use Dropbox, and I advocate for my mom's health. I have her medical records, all of drugs she's on, in Dropbox. So when I go to the doctor, I don't have to carry a huge folder. I can open Dropbox and say, the last time you said, or I'm in a book club, and I keep a list of the books we've read, and somebody said, what was that one about? I can pull it up on my phone. So it's like a mini file cabinet. You don't have to carry all this documentation.
And as far as health, my 88-year-old mom, she'll be 89 in a month exactly a month. She doesn't always remember what the doctors say, and of course, I have eidetic memory, but she doesn't believe that I remember these things. So I actually record, when she's in with the doctor, I record that. So she can do it back later. It's real easy. With our board of directors here, Secretary Robert, who does a great job, records with this because if you miss something, he can go back to it. You've got a built-in microphone, and this will be an iPad or an iPhone, and it's really good for those kinds of things. When I go mail a package, when it's on the counter, what do you mean I brought that in damaged? I have proof it's not damaged. Things like that. They're very, very versatile. But the other thing is these have built-in GPSs and all kinds of things. So I have iPhone. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the monthly price for my wife to just tell Siri, take me home, it's worth every penny.
And take me to the nearest Nordstrom.
Well, no.
So it's a counterbalance. Oh, honey, it only works to say take me home. It can't get you to Nordstrom. Really, it can't. Be careful. He may be tracking you.
He does.
Uh-huh.
We track each other and our friends.
So again, it's worth it for those kinds of situations. Let's say you go out to denials, or let's say you're at the state fair and well, I'm by the gray building. There's about 12 gray buildings. You can use the Find My Friends, and you can, with the other person's permission, zoom in where everybody is. How many times have you been, you're going with two cars and you're going to LA and you don't know which exit they're at or anything? Have Find My Friends, you can tell where they are. I can tell you traffic on this. It can tell me to go around traffic. Okay, go ahead.
I was here last month, and you were commenting on some kind of a device that
It's probably changed by now then. No, go ahead.
a device that your mother has, as an elderly person in a house by herself, if she falls or something, and that's not an iPhone.
No.
What was that you were talking about?
So my mom and I are on a family plan. That way I can upgrade my iPhone every year because I use the accounts back and forth. But what I got from my mom was at Fry's they have a phone it's by a company called Just 5, JUST and the number 5, all one word. $69 or so, and it works on AT&T and T-Mobile. You put the SIM card in, and it's a regular phone. It's light enough she could wear it around her neck. But the big part about this, it's an SOS phone.
What?
SOS.
Oh, okay.
The I've fallen, I can't get up thing. So it's got a button on the back. If she presses that for 3 seconds, it will let out a large alert. So like if somebody was attacking you, doesn't usually happen to 89-year-old women, but it could. But it will call 911 and it will instantly become a speakerphone. So let's say she realizes, boom, okay, 911. Hello? 911 answers, they get no reply. You're able to speak to them. You don't have to have the phone to your ear. Okay? So it becomes a two-way speakerphone. And you also have the capability where I can set it up to text up to 5 people a pre-programmed message. We didn't do that. Now this is more from when she was away from her home because she has an alarm in her house and we had them add to the alarm when she's at her house. They make these little remotes to arm and disarm your alarm now. Well, they have a panic button on them.
It's
So-
just like this.
Yeah, for your alarm? Yeah.
And panic.
Yeah, and so now she just wears that pendant around her neck when she's at home, but it doesn't do her any good if she's away from her house because it's only in the house, and that's a panic alarm too. This is when she used to go down to Arizona for 3 months a year, but now if she were at the store or go along somewhere, she could always hit the cell phone panic button. 911, because of GPS, will know where you are, and it's a speakerphone, and it's called a Just 5 phone, and it will work on AT&T, and you don't pay any. The best part about so those other services, you pay a monthly fee. All we pay for that is the cost of her $10 for her extra line, and that's in place of her cell phone, and it works as a cell phone the rest of the time.
Doesn't she have to have an AT&T line?
Nope. Wireless AT&T cell line. We're on a family plan. You have to have AT&T or T-Mobile with this. So we're on a family plan already, so it cost us no more on our cell plan. She's just added on as a $10 number on it because she needs a cell phone the rest of the time anyway. So this is my mom who I had to fight to get a DVR. She loves her DVR. Had to convince her hard to get it, and she thought she'd never use a cell phone. She calls her sister on it all the time because it doesn't incur long distance charges, you know. So anyway, the landscape has changed for phones because this phone that you pay the normal big carrier for, $199 costs them $650, so you have a 2-year program. The big carriers have finally said, and we're the only place in the world that really does that. Most of the other places, you pay the big price for the phone, and you're not committed to a contract. The reason you're committed, and everybody hates these 2-year contracts, but how many of you would rather have a 2-year contract or actually pay another $450 for that phone? You're going to have the service from somebody. You're making a 2-year commitment to them. But there are other players out there in the market now that give you inexpensive service. You can get Straight Talk Mobile. You can get Virgin Mobile. Virgin Mobile, I have one client, he has an iPhone with a minimal plan on it. He wanted an iPhone. I didn't think he needed an iPhone, but hey, it's his money. He wants to do it. He got an iPhone. We got it on Virgin Mobile. He paid like $450 for the iPhone 4S, and he pays $30 a month for data, texting, and 200 minutes a month. But he paid more for the phone initially. Okay. You can see here what the program, what T-Mobile started it. It's called their Jump program. And what they say is, you can do us without a contract, but you're going to pay a $146 down payment, and you can change your phone every 6 months, but we require a monthly charge of $21 a month plus the jump fee, $31 a month. But you're not paying up front for the phone, you're just paying a down payment, and you can switch your phone every 6 months. Well, realistically, Apple comes out with a upgrade to their phone every year. So you could be on a 1-year cycle. These don't pencil out for most people because you trade the phone back in.
That's it.
This iPhone 5 I have right here Well, I got this last October when the iPhone 5 came out. Yes, I was there the first day. Well, I ordered it to get to me the first. Actually, I was in Alaska, so I really had to wait. I was like, and then they missed the shipment, and I was like, got it 3 days after I got back. I was going through tech hell for me. But anyway, and I'm on shore in Victoria, and I'm trying to coordinate it so that they can leave my shipment at the UPS store so I can go pick it up there. Well, we can't change this, and anyway. But I got it. I took my old iPhone 4S, and I sold it for $425. I get the 32 gig model. I paid $299 originally for it. I paid $299 for the replacement, but I sold the old one for $425.
On eBay?
No, actually, I found somebody local. Actually, not local, on a message board I'm on, who I know from on a Mac message board. And for them, they want it because they can buy it and not have to be under a contract. Or if somebody loses a phone, Charlie's a great example. You had a phone stolen, right? Well, yeah, they had a phone stolen, and they would have to pay full price to replace it because they're still committed under their 2-year contract. It's kind of like when you buy the car and you're upside down in the car and the car gets wrecked and you still have to keep paying on it, you know? But that's what happens with that. They have to complete the contract. But somebody like that would want to buy a phone out of contract and then they own it. Usually, if your phone's 2 years old, on the Apple ones, you can usually get what you paid for it out of it.
You can do what?
Get what you paid for back in 2 years. Because most of the carriers allow you to upgrade every 2 years. These other carriers are letting you buy it now. Now AT&T has this one, they call it their Next plan, where you pay you make 20 monthly payments at $32.50 a month extra. You don't pay anything to get the phone, and after a year, you've put $390 into that phone, but you got to give it back to them because they're going to just resell it and make money on it.
That's right.
I still think that if you're going to go with one of the big 4 carriers, get the phone for the subsidized price and put up with the 2-year contract. Okay? Because you're going to pay $199 for an iPhone 5. In the fall, you're going to have what we think is called an iPhone 5S, and there might be an inexpensive iPhone coming out that'll be plastic.
5C.
That's what the rumors are saying.
Didn't
My
you just say that if
My phone is through Sprint, and so I think you told me that.
You're still under contract because it's fairly new.
Huh?
You're still under contract.
Yeah, I think a 2-year contract.
It's a 2-year contract.
So, well, there aren't any numbers up there for Sprint, but.
They don't do this program, but you got your phone for like.
It's a family plan.
Yeah, but you have a 2-year contract on it is what it is. So,
Yeah.
What was your question?
Didn't you say if you went ahead and paid full price for the phone, you could get a cheaper monthly contract?
Actually, if you pay full price for the phone, $650, you have no contract.
But then if you want a contract, don't you?
You don't have to have a contract. Service and contract are not. You don't have to have a contract to have service. In other words, I can go for 6 months on AT&T and then move to Europe.
Is the service cheaper?
No.
No.
Unless you're on these alternate carriers, like Virgin or Straight Talk and those, where they're not going to subsidize you because they're charging less. So they're not going to take the $400 hit on the phone, the $450 hit on the phone, but they're going to offer you, like my client that has Virgin Mobile, that he pays, it's $35 a month, but since he auto paid it on his credit card, it's $35 or $30 a month.
On well, either AT&T or Verizon, if it's $650 for 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
And you're getting the phone and service, it's kind of like instead of paying for the phone up front, you're getting to pay it off over 2 years, but you're getting your service along with it.
No, this is in addition to your service.
In addition to your service.
This is, so in other words, if you're on contract or not on contract, you're going to pay the same for your service. This is not including service. I'm sorry, I should have pointed that out. But what happens is you don't own the phone at the end. All this is for is people that want to make sure they upgrade their phone every year or every half year. That's the only one this is any benefit to, and I don't think that applies here. I wanted to point it out because they're advertising it heavily now. And why would they advertise it heavily other than the fact that they make more money on it?
Okay.
So at the end of 2 years, you don't own the phone? You have a 2-year contract?
If you don't use this upgrade plan, You buy the phone for $199 at the end of 2 years. You own this phone, and you can sell it for $199. You'll probably pay $50 in tax because in California, they base the tax on the full $650 of the phone, unless you buy it at Walmart. Walmart has this for $129 right now. Remember, a new one's coming out, and they only charge $10 tax. I don't know how they do it, but they only charge it on the subsidized price and not the full price.
How much is the charge, or are they new?
No, they're new. Brand spanking new. So they're discounted from $199. Fry's has them for $132, but you're going to pay $50 in tax. There, you're going to pay $10 in tax.
So if I buy one at Walmart, can I make a connection with one of these companies?
Yes. So that's a great question. In other words, you'll have to buy a phone if you want to buy it for $129, and you have to commit to a contract. And it will be with AT&T, Sprint, Verizon, T-Mobile, or they are the company that makes Straight Talk, and they have some other deals on the phone, but you pay more for the phone on Straight Talk. And Straight Talk uses AT&T, by the way. So who has the best coverage? Verizon. Who has the best speed and is really improving a lot is AT&T. T-Mobile is pretty good because they have the only T-Mobile and Sprint. If you use a lot of data, are the only two that really give you unlimited data. The other ones say unlimited sometimes, but they like to couch those words and they slow you down to really slow speeds after you do so much.
Why do the Android people think theirs is better?
Windows people think theirs. It's Windows versus Mac. It's Android versus iPhone.
They what?
It's Windows and Mac is the equivalent of iPhone versus Android.
Oh, okay. That's in it.
Okay. So let's go back over. I want to see what I'm missing here. Contract phone. Oh, cheap printing. Good. We got time to do cheap printing. Or free printing. Who here is happy paying lots of money for ink for their printer? Well, Pete is because he works for HP. But other than that, it is, okay, it's amazing they sell a printer for as inexpensive as they do. And the reason they do is because once they got you in, you're going to buy their ink. And you know how much that ink is. So, first off, what I'm going to tell you here doesn't necessarily apply to photo printers. If you're going to use a photo printer, it's important to have really good ink. But you know what? It's not good to use photo printers. You're better off going to Walgreens or CVS or Costco and having them print them on better stuff. And it's going to cost you less than if you printed at home for photos. Now, I'm going to tell you about a printer. And if you go to, well, actually, we'll go to kenspencer.com. And we go down here to my printer, Apple Hardware, Time Machine, and Printer, okay? So if I click on this, now, does anybody recycle their ink cartridges? Your ink cartridges?
Yes.
At Staples or Office Depot or where?
One of them.
Okay,
Staples.
okay. Staples, Office Depot, I don't know about the rest, will give you $2 for every cartridge. Staples has a new thing though. To get the $2, you can do up to 10 cartridges a month, which is $20 credit, but they require you to buy $30 worth of ink twice a year, so every 180 days. Office Depot does not have that stipulation, I've just learned, because Staples just changed theirs. So, you spend $30 for that cartridge, you use it, and there's probably a bunch of ink left in it, but the printer says it's out of ink, and some printers won't even let you scan, even though you're not going to use the ink, it shuts it down. Because you've got to buy more ink from them, and they're really picky about buying refills and stuff. Anybody here refill their cartridges? Okay, probably spend about $6 to $10 for every refill. Okay, you're losing the $2 because you don't get to turn it in. But if you go here and get the printer that I tell you to get, 10 cartridges for $6.98. So now you can legally launder ink. If you do enough of this, you'll become rich. Rich beyond all your means. So so the question always gets up, Ken, I've heard those aftermarket ink cartridges, you know, you get some bad ones every so often, and it's 80 cents. Okay, you get a bad one, take it to Office Depot and get $2 for it, because you just made $1.20. And if you need more credits, take full ones in. It's the scam of the century. Now, most printer companies don't, they're picky about, they put computer chips in there. Lexmark used to be the worst, and they used to sue. You couldn't put aftermarket ones in a Lexmark. It'd say, ha ha ha, no way, because we want to suck money out of you. HP's difficult, some of the others. These are for Brother, a certain Brother printer that I recommend that is actually on clearance now. So, I'm going to make a requirement here. If I tell you this, you can't leave here until the class is over. Because Office Depot only has a few left. I picked up one of them last Friday, or last Thursday. In fact, we just set one up at Joy's house here. So,
How much are they for now?
$49.99,
Oh,
which is what you paid.
it does.
So, there's a Brother printer out there that does a couple things. It's completely wireless, or you can use USB. It works on the Mac, it works on the PC. And it prints directly from the iPad and the iPhone. And here it is on Amazon. So this printer, it's a fax, it's a scanner, it's a copy machine. It does the dishes, and you get ink for it for 80 cents each. The Brother J430W. Now, this is at Amazon, so it's normally 99 bucks. It goes on sale every other week at Office Max 1 week, Office Depot. Right now, at Office Depot, it's $49.99. This Office Depot has one. There's 2 other ones that have one, okay? But sometimes Staples will match Office Depot and back and forth like that. So, again, I don't want to see a mad dash out here to go get it. But it's a great little printer. There's a next version up from this that actually prints on CDs and does duplexing. But who cares what the printer costs? It's the consumable. It's the ink. $7 for 10 cartridges. 10 cartridges. So, if you have that photo printer, what you can do is, because I say, if you want to print your own photos, photo ink's really expensive. This is for your everyday printing. It does photos okay if you're just printing stuff out, but don't count on it as being a high-end photo printer. But I can turn my ink cartridges in and buy my ink for my photo printer. So this will pay for your photo printing and the other. Because for every 80-cent cartridge, you're going to get $2 back. So that link to my website's there. It's only for certain printers. The whole list of the Brother printers that are available is here. So the printer that is the one I recommend, it's the Brother actually I should take this back. It's an MFC multifunction color J430W. At Best Buy, it's the 435W, and it has a different decal on the lid. If you want the one that does two-sided and prints on CDs, it's the MFC J825DW, and at Best Buy it's the J835DW. Duplex prints both sides, and it also prints on DVDs and CDs. Now, what I should point out is they're replacing these models with something new, and I don't know if there's inexpensive ink cartridges out for the new ones yet. But Brother has always had a history of letting you use cheap ink cartridges. So if you'll notice on this website, it shows you what brother models these particular cartridges work with. And yeah, you might get a bad cartridge or two. I haven't run into them. Okay, everybody, grab any iOS device you have, any laptop. We want to have you hooked to the internet. And then I'll finish up the class. So, go to your Wi-Fi on every device you have. We're going to try to take down our internet. On our case, let's grab the Fireside Wi-Fi network. And the password is all lowercase. Do it on the phone, do it on iPad, do it on everything you have, because I really want to overload this. No, you go into the Wi-Fi settings. So here we are on our phone. Let me bring the phone up. Here on the iPhone, look up on the screen here, Wi-Fi, and then select the Fireside network. Okay? In settings, select the Fireside network, and the password is MacNexus, all lowercase. MacNexus, lowercase. So let's everybody get connected. Anybody who's not connected, let me know, because we really want to see how many clients we get.
Am I already connected?
Not unless you, no, you don't have, you're not, no, it's, you know, you would have had to have your computer here. You're not, you're fine. Oh, on your, yeah, don't worry about it in your Android, it'll take forever. What? MacNexus. Yes, all lowercase. There, we're getting our list is building on our number of clients here. These are all the people connected.
Where do you put your password?
When you tap on Fireside.
I did. And this came up.
Oh, you tap right on directly. Now type in MacNexus.
Just forget this.
No, forget would be if you're already signed in.
Should we delete the St. Max and St. Max?
You don't have to delete anything. Just connect to Fireside. And then just go on the internet, go to Safari and make sure you're on the internet. I'll do a speed test here. The password is MacNexus. When you tap on Fireside, it should ask you to put in a password.
I'm online.
No, you hit the little share button. You want to hit directly. Now type MacNexus. Let's check. Let's see. Type in MacNexus. You did it? You get it on?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do a speed test. Let's see how many people we got on. There's our list. Oh. There's our, oh good, we got a good list. All right. So begin test. Don't worry about this. This will show how heavy our load is, which I'm just trying to psych out here, and it's looking pretty heavy. We are overloading the network. Good. Yeah. Make sure you guys can go to a website. Ooh, ping time's low.
Yeah, I was on Safari last night, and I can't believe that it keeps popping up to YouTube that
YouTube video, or is it on this one?
because it won't come up when it goes to YouTube. I don't know.
Well, you can just close that tab.
I have no idea.
Oh, not so bad. Okay.
I don't know.
So everybody is connected, though, right? Okay. All right. You guys can return your tray tables to the upright position. This is just good. It's kind of, and I'll finish up here in a second. So the printers are these. You can write these down. You can email me if you want. That link to the ink. The ink is the important thing. So now, there's places out there where they'll show you 20 cartridges for about double the price. Look, they're going to probably go bad. So you just because it's such a great price, just get them when you need them. It's not like this ink is instantly going to go up in price. There's a ton of sellers on Amazon that are selling you ink for this. Now you go into the store and they're going to say, do you need ink with that? We'd be happy to sell you our overpriced ink with this printer. And you say, no, that's okay. Oh, and you can buy this $22 USB cable if you need with it. Well, you probably already have a USB cable. Or I'll tell you a little secret. You can go get Ethernet cables sometimes, but especially USB cables at the 99-cent only stores. Guess how much they are?
Just a little bit short of a buck.
Yeah, well, it's actually, the 99-cent only stores raised their prices. They're 99.9 cents, 999 cents. They did that as a big promotion. But yeah, and those USB cables work just as fine as everyone else. The HDMI cables you get for your high-end definition TVs, Fry's has them on sale for $199 a lot of times. And it's digital. You don't need these expensive monster cables. For the old analog audio, yeah, you need that for your speakers sometimes, but for the rest of this stuff, it's all digital. Okay, I've got questions and answers. Well, you've got questions, I hope. I hope to have answers. Do we have any? We covered a lot today. Amazon. Go to kenspencer.com, look down there at printers or ink, or if you email me, I'll send you the link to the ink. The world needs more alerts. I'm an alert. What alerts is what regarding?
Setting up alerts.
Like I did here. Okay. So how many here have an iPhone, an iPad that has Siri on it? Okay.
What, an iPad?
iPad. And iPad mini, iPad 3, iPad 4 all have Siri. So I set that alert earlier for us to do this network test. So I'm going to show you my phone on the screen here. And I just go here and I say, at noon, remind me to let the class go.
Here's your reminder for today at 12 p.m. Shall I create it?
Yes, confirm.
Okay, I'll remind you.
Let's talk about it for your brother.
Oh, news alerts. Okay, thank you. So I go back to Safari, and actually let's just go to our Google. Do one more text here. Yeah, and you can set on your calendar, you can set alerts to have it remind you when certain things come up and stuff. So let me go to more. Easiest way to find these news alerts is I'm going to that page and going down here to alerts. So I set in my search query, what you would normally search for. I can say Jesse James pistol. Okay. Now, you see there's some news feeds and even on the web. So give my result of only in news, whether it's on, and everything would be the web and everything else. I just want news. How many do I want? Only the best results or all results? And then as new ones get created, they'll fill in and then deliver it to which account do you want, which one of your Gmail accounts. And then you can go in and manage them. So you set it, what I recommend on this first is go into news or go into the web, find the search criteria that seems to be what you want, and then make that an alert. So if we go back to Google, and let's take Jesse James pistol. Go to Google. And I'm going to do just a good old Google search of Jesse James pistol. Now, oh, it didn't tell me here, but maybe when I go to news it will. See this? I can add it to my home page on Google, but I thought it used to, it doesn't now. It used to say, do you want to make a news feed of that? But I recommend doing the search first to make sure you have your criteria right. And the thing is, if you're too broad, you're going to get too much information. If you're too narrow, you're not going to get enough. So, and you can set up multiple alerts. You could have it be, I could be Gordon Spencer and then Gordon Spencer Merced, and you know,
The alert comes as an email.
and as an email to whatever account you specify. And so once, if you're getting too many of them, you can go in and manage your alert and restrict it more. But the one to the home page is pretty good too, because it'll just show up on a home page. It'll be a custom home page on your Google home page, Google News home page. So I don't want to search for Jesse James pistol. All right. So any,
Homeland Security's looking for it.
I'm sorry?
Homeland Security's looking for it.
God, that's funny. John Wilkes Booth. Oh, that's there was a recent article about John Wilkes Booth that was kind of interesting. Did they really bury the right guy? He's dead. I think I covered everything. Flickr, the phones, and again, look for in the fall. We think there'll be a new. Oh, the iPhone 4, the iPhone 5S may have, and I predicted this 18 months ago that we were going to have fingerprint recognition on the phone. And I thought it'd be a whole nother year. Indications are it might be in the phone this fall. So think about this. In the fall, you're going to have iOS 7 and Mavericks for this, and it will have your passwords stored in your keychain on the cloud. So if I go to Bob and Joe's Burgers and I want to sign in and I make up a password for them, first of all, it'll make up a very secure password for me here. I go over to my phone to Bob and Joe's Burgers, and it will remember that. It'll already put that password in for me through the iCloud, and it will be very secure. And also, it will store your credit card information if you choose it to. So when you go down and say, yeah, use this credit card, which is safer than having Bob's Burgers store your credit card, because if they get hacked, they might get your credit card info. I don't tell those places to store my credit card except for Amazon. I do PayPal most of the time. So that'll be on these devices, and it'll be wonderful. But if you have fingerprint recognition, unless they cut your finger off, you're the only one that's going to get into that kind of stuff. So we think something like that's coming. Question?
When I needed to have the live scan to at one of the schools, when I did my printing, it didn't print because my fingers are so worn down.
Yeah.
And
My father had that trouble when he got his life insurance license. He'd handled papers so much, his fingerprints were worn down. So yeah, there's some problems with it. But you know, for those of us that can use it, yeah, maybe just draw some on. To be honest, the real key to all this is when it does iris scan, because iris scan works really well. And you remember these all have cameras in them, so an iris scan would really be the way to go. But that's a little daunting for most people yet. So yeah, the DMV now does the one there too, and I mean it. You know, I don't know. It's
Nurses, we used to get a massage therapist.
Yeah. Yeah. So what they need to come out with is a cover that has a unique thing on it that you could use in place of it that would only be yours. You know, it'd be like a fingerprint, but it'd be unique that it could use on it. So there's my new invention. I better search Google to see if it's patented yet, right? Which they do. You can do patent searches on Google. Years ago, when I was 20 years old, I researched a patent on some things, and I had to go down to Sunnyvale to the patent library and look through all these books and everything else. My God, to have the internet. And all the patents are cataloged with Google, and you can go search those kinds of things. All right. No other questions? Gosh, I'm done a minute early. That's not like me.
What other things are the new phone going to have?
Who knows? I read all the blogs. Depends on who I talk to. I feel like Sybil sometimes. There is indication that we're going to get an iPad shaped more like the Mini, so a little bit harder edges. There is talk of a Retina display iPad Mini. I don't care about. Oh, I got my alert. Look, my alert came up that we did for the Let the Class Go. So I'll close it on my iPad. I don't know about a Retina display in this. It doesn't make much difference to me because I'm on function over form. I'd rather have extra battery life and not be so warm. The iPhone 5 will probably have even a better camera. The i5S, I should say. The fingerprint sensor. Oh, it's going to have double flash, they say too. So you'll have 2 flashes on the back. It gives you better fill and much more fidelity if needed. Because the flashes, you should really never use your flash on these because it really only works for about 5 feet. And that's with even my big camera, it might work for 10 feet. But if the flash is on, it thinks it's going to flash up. So everything in the back gets totally lost. So I'll show you. Here's my bonus app of the day. It works. Oh, let the class go. Okay, yeah, I'll let the class go. Mag. So I have some text here, and I'm able to go in. Oh, let's turn the paper over so it's. Actually, let's look at the serial number. Look at the writing on the back of this speaker. And I can turn the light on. Oop, that's too bright. See, I can barely read those things. I have a magnifying app here. It's also a flashlight. But yeah, I have a flashlight. But in the iOS 7, it's going to be built in. But this is called magnifying glass. But if you just do an app search for mag dot, and it'll come up. You know, because like on the Apple stuff, the passwords are so hard to see. Like the back of this Apple remote, here's a bunch of small printing on the bottom of it. So that's mag dot. It's wonderful. Okay. Thank you. I'll stop the recording. Time player, bring all to front.